Hi, this is Zubin Vevaina from A to Z Graphology and welcome to this video. Now we are going to learn about the capital letter H. This letter structure is really unique in its formation and the information that it seems to represent is quite uncanny. The letter H seems to show an emotional connection between two objects. It could be one person and the other, it could be a person and another thing, it could be two things, just trying to connect at an emotional level. Why we are saying emotion is because this crossbar is at the green level. Yes, if the crossbar goes higher, then we're talking about communication, the voice, blue chakra. If the crossbar goes slightly lower, then you're talking about yellow, food. If you are going to design a logo for your company tomorrow and if the company has a capital letter H represented, then choosing the correct height of the crossbar could give a very clear signal of what you want to connect to in terms of business and customers. Now coming back to the capital letter H. What is the important thing that we are understanding is that there is no connection at a mental level, there is no connection at an instinct, there is only a pure emotional connect. When you start something new and you are feeling emotionally connected to it, this letter H will show you the status of that emotional connect. What does that mean? Let's take for example, after working very hard, I am going to buy myself a brand new gold chain or an expensive car. Now when I go to the showroom and I see the gold chain or I see the lovely car, am I going to think about it only in a technical terms of what I require, or should I feel a bit of emotion? Sometimes, no matter how logically correct the car or the item in front of you may seem, still you feel that the emotional connect is not there. And there are times when you're so deeply emotionally connected to the thing in front of you that you don't logically care about anything. That experience which you feel when standing in front of something and you just feel emotionally good about it, that is capital letter H. Now, there are so many ways that a person can write capital H, but in this video, I want to introduce you to a new concept. There's something called as a safety stroke and a risk stroke. Safety stroke means that when the stroke is made, its starting and ending point is easy to determine. Whereas if it's a risk stroke, that means it could have the same attribute of what the letter is explaining, but there's a risk factor in it. Let us understand how this works. I have made 3 letter H structures. They all look the same, but their analysis is different. How is that possible? That is possible if we observe the sequence in which I made the 3 structural lines. In the first one, this is the first line I made, this is the second, and this is the third. Now, the second one I made 1, 2 and 3. This last one I made this line first, then this second and this third. Which letter has got more risk and which letter is a safety stroke, that we will calculate just now. For the first example over here, this line has been made, second line has been made, so it knows its starting point and ending point. But this third line, as I draw it, I'm not sure whether it will come across the line exactly at this point, or it could go away, or it could get chopped off. So this becomes a risk stroke. This third line is a risk stroke. This one is fine, but this is a risk stroke. Now let's calculate for this one. I have made a central line first. That means I made the central crossbar, and now I have to make a judgment of where this line would fit and then where this line would fit. That means that this is a double risk letter H. A single risk, double risk letter H, and finally when we think of this one, I have made the first line and the second line. The third line has a proper starting and ending point, so it has got a safety aspect. The nature of the way the H is written and also the sequence in the lines and their formations, that can give you a huge clue about what the letter H is. So when the person is trying to connect with another thing, another person, another situation at an emotional level, emotions can be risky. And if you want to know whether it's a safe aspect or a risky aspect, we can come to know by the sequence. There is a slight element of risk here, there's a major element of risk here, and there's virtually no element of risk here. Now, when you get a handwriting sample, it may be slightly difficult to know which stroke came first or second or third. If by chance you can notice it directly in the sample, that's fantastic. But if you really can't, just ask the person to write the letter H in front of you and then just see the sequence in which he is lining the lines, and the 1, 2, 3 sequence is going to be very important of the line structure. So now that you've understood the risk stroke and the safety stroke, you can apply this factor to any letter structure if it has something called as segmentation. Segmentation means where you're going to lift the pen up while writing a single letter structure. What if I don't want to lift up the pen while writing the letter H? Then my letter H becomes somewhat like this. What does this letter H signify? This letter H seems to signify that as I use my intellect and I come down, I am using my instinct and my lower chakra system to be creative, express an emotion outwards, then use the creativity of another person or another thing's creativity from the above part of the chakra system and finally complete the H. That means my creative instincts seems to have a match or a connect to the other person's thought processes. What example can come out of over here? A very skilled salesman may be able to cater to a particular customer with this letter H. Let's take for example, I am a TV salesman, I am a television salesman, and instinctively in a creative way, I come to know what my customer wants, what my customer is having creative thoughts about. That is what I am trying to understand. So this letter H is trying to show how I can use my instincts, creativity for the other person's mental ability. See if this works out for you, and if you find this in somebody's handwriting, they are able to use the creativity of their instinctive gut feelings and use that to connect to another person's intellect and their creativity. Of course, the actual connection is still at an emotional level, but of course, if this goes higher, if it happens at a higher level, at the blue chakra level, then it's about communicating about this creativity. So now that you've understood letter H structure, you can go ahead and make multiple formations, put it at different heights, make the crossbar, make the risk stroke, make some of them have a crossover, make an edge that does not have the crossbar connecting to anything, And as we learnt in the letter F, where the gap shows the person not able to relate to the emotions, and here the person is having conflicting emotions. So that is how you will come to know what the letter H stands for. And basically it does show emotional connect, but emotional connect can be very manipulated. So thank you for watching this video. Get creative, send me formations, and we'll discuss more about it. Thank you and see you in the next one.